Welcome to the Let Me Bend Your Ear podcast. My name is Frank. I'm the host of the show. This podcast, I discuss movies, new and old. Today's episode, I'm going to be discussing and reviewing the film Nightbitch, which is a great title, of course, starring Amy Adams. Before I get into that, just a little bit about the show. As I stated, this is a podcast where I discuss and review movies, new and old. You can listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcast. You can watch this podcast on the following platforms: Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble. I would ask, if you don't mind, if you can like and subscribe either on the YouTube channel or on Rumble, or both. One of the main goals, as I've stated in the last couple of episodes of 2025, is to increase the viewership and listenership of the show. So wherever you consume this show, if you can like and subscribe, if you can rate and review, all those things are extremely helpful in growing the show. And if you're able to financially support the show, that'd be great. If you look right up here, QR code on the left-hand side, or you can go to my X page, which is at Bend Your Ear Pod, and just click on the tip jar there, and feel free to contribute. Every little bit helps to offset the cost of producing the show. So I appreciate that. So let's get right into it. So I am going to be talking about the movie called Nightbitch, starring Amy Adams. So of course, Amy Adams is a very good actress. And when I saw the previews for this, 4 or 5 months ago, before it was released in theaters, it was, first of all, the title catches your attention. I guess it's based on a novel. But of course, when I saw the trailer, it was interesting because it had elements of other movies that it reminded me of, I don't want to say a werewolf movie because that's a little bit of a different story, but obviously in the trailer, they allude to the fact that Amy Adams is a mom that discovers slowly but surely that she can turn into a dog. I'm not spoiling anything there. So as the movie opens, we have Amy Adams' character, and she has I think probably about a 2-year-old, 3-year-old child. So she has a small child that she's taking care of. So she's a stay-at-home mom. Her husband is, of course, working and supporting the family. And the dynamic is he leaves pretty much 4 nights a week, it looks like in the movie, and then he's back like on the weekends. So she's basically taking care of the child all week, all by herself. Now, we also find out that she was an artist before she decided to stop working to take care of the child. So this movie tackles a lot of those themes. So, you've seen this in other movies as well, where it's the dilemma that women have that were working before they had their children. So she stopped her career, wanting to be there for her child. Her husband was on board with that, but obviously she's got conflicted feelings about it. And the movie, especially at the beginning, kind of sets it up. It's very mundane in the sense that it shows her routine every day, making him the same breakfast, playing with him, taking him to the park. And you can see that while she loves her son and is happy to be there with her son, she is not completely fulfilled. And she has some not inner monologues, actually the way they do it in the film, which is funny, is there's a scene early on where she's shopping at the store, and another woman comes to talk to her, see how she's doing, asking how her son is, and then the lady says to her, well, it must be great. I wish I could stay home, with my son all the time. It would be wonderful. And then Amy Adams goes into this dialogue about how it's not great. She would hate it, blah, blah, blah. And instead of the inner monologue where you hear inner narration, it's her actually verbalizing it. You see her verbalizing it. And then when she's done with her monologue regarding her unhappiness with the situation, then it cuts back to, the real time. And of course, she didn't say any of that. She just basically says, oh, it's great. I love staying home. So obviously, she's very conflicted about it. And the movie kind of settles into that routine. The husband comes home for the weekend. She's, of course, irritated with him, slightly resentful because, he gets to leave, gets to do his work while she's doing the taking care of her son pretty much 24/7. And then she starts to notice things about her body that are changing. So she's playing with her son, and her son finds that she has hair like in her lower back. And of course, at first she kind of, tosses this off to, she's almost at the age of menopause, or things are going on. She's attributing it to something natural, not fun, but definitely natural. And these physical manifestations start to get more pronounced. when she's out with her son, she's attracting this pack of dogs that are coming to her, that are friendly to her. Like she's part of the pack, and she's just like, wow, this is very interesting. So she starts to delve into it deeper, and she also starts to have dreams. You also get some more of her backstory. So she grew up, the dreams are her as a little girl interacting with her mom. So the movie states that her mom passed away a while back while she was young. So she's dreaming about her mom when she was a little girl, and she was raised in a Mennonite area. So with Mennonite family, Mennonite other people in the area. So she, in these dreams, you see her mother kind of concocting brews and stews with odd things. And then she also has a dream of her mom getting on all fours and running away kind of like a dog. So that's happening at the same time as this is happening. So as she goes forward, the movie has her at some point go into a full transformation as a dog running around at night, things like that. So all these things are happening to her. So she doesn't know what's going on. She digs into it deeper and goes to the library and checks out a book regarding women and powers that they have to transform and things like that. So she starts to really delve into this deeper while, not understanding it completely. Her situation with her husband becomes more strained as her resentments about being home and not pursuing her artistic fervor is causing frustration and strain within the marriage. So that's basically the plot of the movie. The movie itself is about an hour and 37 minutes. So it's short, which is good, because it's paced very, very well. My issue, well, let me start with the performances first. Amy Adams, of course, is always great. She takes this role, makes it her own. The physical part of it, she has no issue with. She digs deep into it. Now, Scout McNairy plays her husband. I actually know him mostly from great AMC show 'Halt and Catch Fire. I think not very many people saw it. It lasted 3 seasons. A great show set in the '80s about software programmers and like a tech startup that's trying to become big, and it's actually very entertaining, very great series. I highly recommend it if you are looking for a new series to watch. It's probably on AMC, but it's called *Halt and Catch Fire*. It's quite fantastic, actually. But anyway, he plays her husband. He doesn't really get much to do in this movie. I mean, this movie is about Amy Adams' character. I mean, he has some moments in there, and he's not bad in the movie. He just doesn't get much to do other than kind of quizzically look at what she's saying to him. And like I said, they have some strain over the dynamic of what's going on with her, basically, in her opinion, raising the child by herself while he's away all week working. So like I say, they don't give his character much to do. Now, my issue with Nightbitch is I think what I was expecting was something, frankly, edgier based on the material. So it's pretty mild. So like I said, it really is a mild family drama with some funny moments thrown in there. But I don't know what else I was expecting. I only knowing that it's a woman that turns into a dog. What does that mean? Is she angry as a dog? Is there violence? I don't know if I was expecting violence or more menace or more friction, either between the husband and the wife or the situation or societally how that would work. It was very mild. It was basically a straightforward. She's struggling. She finds out she transforms, and then kind of takes it from there. And then I'm not gonna give away the end of the movie, but it was just not. I don't know. It wasn't a bad movie. I was expecting more, and I think I was expecting it to push, whether it's commentary on women's roles or whatever it is. And normally I'm not looking for a movie with a message, but this movie I think does have a message. I'm sure the novel that it's based on did as well. And I don't know if the novel pushes it into darker territory, and maybe not so much. That's probably what I was looking for, more a darker black comedy. I know this was enlisted as a black comedy, which to me is always great because that's really not a thing anymore in movies. Not that I'm aware of anyway. I came up in the War of the Roses, Heathers, like movies that I think would, well, especially Heathers, I think would not be made today. And it's classic black comedy. You know, you've got school shootings, you've got suicide and Heathers, like things that I think would not be tackled in that way today, unfortunately, because of, you know, the world has changed. Some people will say fortunately, but I think black comedies are, when done right, Death Becomes Her is another one that I love, that I think falls in that category. The Robert Zemeckis film with Bruce Willis, Goldie Hawn, and Meryl Streep, I think a fantastic movie as well. That's not really a thing that's done anymore. So when I saw this movie listed as a black comedy, which I think it is, I don't think it's black enough. I don't think it's dark enough. I think that's what's missing in this movie. Now, how would it have gone darker? That's a great question. I don't have an answer to that question. But I think pushing that element of her transforming into a dog and what that means and what it would cause as far as the movie to move in that darker direction, I think was sorely lacking here. So my expectation was something way different than what the movie delivered. That being said, like I said, Amy Adams is fantastic. There are moments in the movie that I like a lot. One thing I will say, and this was a funny, great surprise, any movie that incorporates Weird Al Yankovic's Dare to Be Stupid is fantastic, and it's placed in the movie, and I laughed out loud when I started hearing the song. One, because it's a hilarious song, and two, to place it in a movie like this is great. So that was a pleasant surprise in the movie to hear that. But again, like I said, I think it just didn't push hard enough. I think if it would have gone harder on her, on happiness about it, how that made her feel. A lot of it was internalized in the performance and in what was shown in the movie. I mean, not that you couldn't tell that she was resentful and upset and conflicted, but I think it could have taken that even harder and made it more interesting and given it more of an edge. That's what the movie was lacking. There was really no edge in this movie. So for a movie to be called Nightbitch, which is a great title, and the plot, I think it just could have gone darker and just didn't, for whatever reason, did not do that. The director is Marielle Heller. I have not seen any of her other works. I'm not familiar with any of her other movies. But like I said here, I just think it was a, slight diversion. It was not boring. It just wasn't edgy enough for me. So unfortunately, ultimately, I was disappointed in the movie itself while liking some aspects of it. Again, like I said, Scott McNairy's character as the husband is not given a lot to do. I wish his role would have been beefed up a little bit more. And the conflict between the husband and the wife definitely could have been picked up more. They had a kind of a big argument towards the end of the movie, but I wish there was more of that within the movie itself. Maybe that would have helped it as well. Like the relationship between her and him, they love each other obviously, but the resentment that Amy Adams' character has and him kind of being oblivious to it, that I think that conflict could have been more dramatic and more consistent throughout the film as opposed to towards the end of the movie. So that was another thing that I thought was lacking in the screenplay with that dynamic between the husband and the wife and raising the child. So I think that was missing too. And again, something that could have given it more of an edge to it. So ultimately, that's my thoughts about it. On my star review rating, I'm going to give Nightbitch 3 stars out of 5. So on that scale, it's a watchable movie. If you like Amy Adams, it's worth a check out. It's probably not something I'll watch again, and I can't give it a full-throated recommendation. But other than that, it was a decent movie, not a good or great movie. Like I said, for the reasons that I've outlined before. So again, I'm giving Nightbitch with Amy Adams 3 stars out of 5. So again, I want to thank everyone that's been listening and watching the program. So again, as I said at the top, if you could like and subscribe to the video channels, which is YouTube, X, Rumble, and Facebook. And if you can follow me on Twitter, that's great. X, that's at Bend Your Ear Pod. That's also the handle for Instagram. And that's the way you can find the channel on YouTube. And you can listen to the show again wherever you get podcasts. If you listen to this podcast, wherever you listen, if you can, rate and review. Again, that helps raise the profile of the show to hopefully get to more listeners and more viewers. And again, if you could financially support the show, that'll be great. Again, to use to offset the cost to produce the show. Like I said, one of the goals of 2025 is to grow the show listener-wise, viewer-wise, and get that support so we can defray the cost of producing the show. So again, I want to thank everybody that listens and downloads. If you want to email the show, The email is benjurearpodcast@gmail.com. You can download any episode all the way back to episode 1 if you go to the website. The website is letmebendyourear.com. If you go there, every episode is available there to listen to or to download if you want to download it to listen to at your leisure. So again, I want to thank everybody for listening and watching the show. Again, I'm trying to be consistent, getting more product out there so people can listen to it, watch it, consume it, and hopefully recommend it to their friends. I'm going to have another show up shortly. I just watched, or rewatched actually, I haven't watched it in a while, The Taking of Pelham 123, the 1974 film with Walter Matthau. So that is going to be the next episode that is going to be releasing very shortly. So again, I'm going to try to get multiple episodes out. I wanted to do once a week. I want to try to do, when I can, more than one show a week. Just really get that product out there, that content that you can consume. So again, thank you everybody for listening, and I appreciate all the support.